What's up, guys? I wanted to do this video today because I thought it was super interesting because I was reading an article on says this is how much money Americans think you need to be considered wealthy. Um and this one said Charles Schwab said that Americans on average believe it takes $2.5 million to be considered wealthy in today's economy. Naturally, wealth means different things to different people, and it had this different breakdown for like millennials, baby boomers, and Gen Z. So I wanted to share that with you guys because it made me think about something, and I wanted to kind of go over because we've been talking about on in the zone when I talk about money and wealth and investing and things like that outside of real estate. Real estate's a vehicle, but the thought process behind that was, to me, it was staggering because if you're thinking through 2.5 million. It doesn't break down what that looks like, but let's just say 2 million. We talk about what people think that they need. Now, you're probably an entrepreneur, business owner. That's the majority of people who watch me. Somewhere between like 30 years old to somewhere about 50. So you're like me. But let's just go with what the average American thinks about wealth. So they're thinking to be wealthy, they need roughly about $2 million. So let's just say 40% of that's in taxes, right? So you're automatically losing what 800K, right? So now you're down to about 1.2 million of that left. That's 40%. And if you guys have been watching all the stuff that's going on in the election, they're talking about raising taxes, unrealized capital gains, raising the capital gains tax from like 19 to 27, and before it was 44, all the different stuff going on. So worst case scenario, you're going to lose this amount right here to taxes. And I don't know how they're kind of calculating that 2 million or 2.5 or 2.2, but let's just stick with me on this. So you're here. You start to get into this thing where you think you have wealth. This happened before you paid anything. So now you have your house, right? You have groceries, you have your car, you got gas, you got insurance. Now, bear in mind, if you take a look at all the costs as it relates to just being over a certain age in this country, I think it's like a combined household, a husband and a wife that are somewhere around retirement age. It's going to cost them anywhere about 300,000 just in insurance, healthcare. This is healthcare. If you aren't retired and you didn't retire on some plan, this has nothing to do with that income naturally, right? That's a combined, this is medical expenses, all that other stuff. But let's just say we leave that out of that other number, which, like we said, we are starting to pick away at, which was about 1.2 million outside of your expenses, right? You're already looking at, dude, this is not a lot of money. You're talking about anywhere from about, let's just say about 12,000 a month. If that's what you thought was wealthy, you would need in this country, one, you'd have to keep doing it, and it needs to keep increasing because inflation is going to be hitting all that money all the time. But this is not, this is less expenses right here. So the expenses have not been cut out of this. This right here is probably going to knock anybody down to about maybe about $3,000. $3,000. That is all you have left over. That's not entertainment. That's not you fall and break your leg or your kids or grandkids get sick. Nothing like that. You have no safety net whatsoever. This is what they're saying that it takes to be wealthy in this country. Or people have picked that number. I don't know where they got that number from. But if you're an entrepreneur, you know better because you're like, dude, I see what's happening out there. And in order for me to be wealthy, you got to make a couple of different decisions. So, for my thought for anybody, if you're going to be a wealthy business owner or wealthy entrepreneurs focus on three things. One, they increase their income. So they increase their income in their business. This is a constant focus. They're always focusing on increasing their income in their business, getting their money up all the time. This is wealthy business owners. Second, they focus on passive income. That pays them every month. This is a monthly thing. Monthly cash flow. They do this, period. Every one of them are always like, look, I need to get my income up in my business. And then after that, I need to make sure to take any additional money that I have and put it in something that's long-term that continues to pay me every month that I don't have to go off and think about. And then last but not least, all of them are always thinking about equity, right? 2 to 3 times that's long term that pays them out later. So the challenge that I see with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, because I talk to them all the time about potentially investing, they're like, dude, I want to retire. Like I talked to a buddy of mine the other day. He's like, I never want to deal with another employee again. Never. And he had the same number in his head that he wanted to have when he retires. He was like, I think if I have $2 million stocked away, I'll be okay. And he wants to do that. And I was like, dude, how liquid are you? And we were kind of talking, and he was like, I'm close. And I was like, how close are you? And I kind of stayed on that vein to kind of point it out because he only has about 7 or 8 years left. And in his head, he was like, I'm going to retire. I'm going to kind of stop doing what I'm doing. He has a couple of businesses. He flips houses. He's in the transactional side of real estate investing, right? He buys stuff, fixes it, sells it. He has another business. I think it's some painting company, some cabinetry company, whatever. But $2 million is not going to support him. He's still a very active guy. He has kids. He's still functioning and doing things. And his kids are adult kids are going to get married. He's going to have grandkids. He's going to want to function. And he already has a bad attitude about employees. You need employees. If you're going to increase your income, how do you scale your business to whereas you can have additional money to get passive income to eventually get equity in your investments long term? You got to scale the business, which means you need employees. So back to him, $2 million is not going to cut it. He's going to have to think along the lines of stuff that I was talking to him about. I was like, dude, you got to get your mind wrapped around $10 million. Boom. This is your target. Get your company to making $10 million annually a year. Take a portion of that because you already know you're going to have your 40% expenses of taxes, right? Because this business income is earned income. Sorry, this business income is going to be earned income, right? You're going to write off as much as you can. Don't buy anything unless you can write it off for your business. So you're always going to be looking for write-offs, marketing, equipment, sales, employees, all the other stuff that you need to do as an entrepreneur to save as much of this money as possible. You're going to take some of that money, no matter what it is. Let's say you're able to save about 20% of that a year. As the entrepreneur, the owner, right? You're not paying whatever it is that you're doing. Hypothetically, you're not going to save 20% of that a year, but let's just say you did. Just for our math, you socked away $2 million, which was his target. And then you take that $2 million and you invest it long-term in real estate, right? Cash flow real estate, great location, great property, and you invest your money. You don't go buy more deals. This money will pay you roughly about 5% a year, right? So no matter what, you're going to be getting roughly about $10,000 in cash flow a month on that deal. And then later, the goal is for your money that because again, remember, he's still pumping away at his business. The business would still be going, still be focused on getting your income up. And every year you dump $2 million into an investment. Let's say after, I don't know, again, he's not going to hit $10 million if he doesn't want. And whatever I'm talking about, think about yourself too. If you don't want to get to $10 million and you can't do this math, and it may not be 10 million for you, maybe it's 5, maybe it's the 2, I don't know. But the formula for being able to create wealth for you using your business as a vehicle while you're able has to matter. So let's say he did this for 10 years. He kept dumping down. Boom, he kept investing. So now he has $20 million invested. Boom, 20 million invested. That's paying him 5% on that 20 million now every year, right? And later, the goal is for this 20 million is probably worth 60 million because he invested it in real estate, right? So his net worth and his equity position has went up. So now he's worth 60 million. He's got 20 million invested, paying him $5 million a year, and he stays in there. Let's say he stays in there for 10 years. Boom, he keeps going. Now, while this is happening, his net worth has went up, and let's say we double out. Let's say in an investment, because that's our goal for us. Later, we go and refinance and give our investors back their capital, right? So during that time, let's say he got his 20 million back. So now his return is infinite on his investment, but he's still getting the 5%, or at least based on the position that he had in his deal, his position. He's still getting that. So now his retirement is not being affected. So he's got all his money back into his initial stuff. He didn't lose any money. It was invested in a piece of real estate that was a long-term investment while he kept building this $10 million a year business. And again, the goal is to keep increasing the income on the 10 million, pay his taxes, pay his expenses, keep building the company, double down on 2 million. Hey, now you got a goal. That's a different type of goal, because when you're thinking about what you're going through now, later, he'll have his 20 million back. He can reinvest that 20 million in another big deal. Now, he's already doing well. He still kept his position. But most people, like people in this article, are not thinking about that. They're not thinking about that. What they're thinking about is they're mistaking work for wealth. A lot of business owners do that. They mistake, I want to have, I want wealth, but I also want the work. So they'll go off and say, I'm going to go get 2 businesses, or, they have a business that's working. They're already making money. They go start a second one. They start a second one. It makes no money. And then they're like, shit, what do I do? And then they have to go back to their first business. And now this first business is not operating the way that they thought it was gonna, because they took their eyes off the ball. Rather than take the money from this business, boom, you invested in long term in some piece of real estate, like what we do at Bell Capital. We find the deals, fund the deals, manage the deals. You get to invest in the deals. You get cash flow plus appreciation, right? I always write 2x because that's our goal and target for every deal. We want to double whatever we had in the deal later when we sell. But this is the right plan, because most people, what they're doing, they're creating generational work. They're not creating generational wealth. They're not even focused on the wealth part. They're thinking about the money that it's going to sustain them. It never does. You can't keep up with inflation, taxes that are being changed. All that stuff is beyond your control. Everything happening right now that you see with the election, Harris, Trump, all these, Trump wants to do tariffs. Harris wants to do tax increases and give everybody a bunch of money for free for doing nothing. All of that's, where do you think they're getting that money from? Where's that money going to come from? If they, which they will, print more money. They're going to be like, hey, we're going to give away all this money. They're going to go back. They're going to print more money. They're going to distribute it to the public. That's going to raise, that's one, that's going to lower the value of your money, what's your borrowing power of your money, because there's more money circulating. So the cost of goods are going to go up. So even if you did have a business that you've been busting your ass for, like people like you're going to have to inflate your price to match up with the goals. But most people don't have the goal of this, especially based on that article, man. That's scary. I don't know if that's you, if you're watching this, and I hope I'm not all over the place, because I get excited about this, man. I've talked about this for a while. If you're a wealthy entrepreneur, wealthy business owner, you're trying to create wealth for you and your family. You're trying to create wealth for your family, not more work. You want to take all of your income, your overage income, and you want to invest it in something long term that continues to pay you this additional passive income over and over again long term, and you're not to lose your initial money. You want to preserve your capital that you invested, but later, long term, you want that money to double and triple for you while you work. You don't need another business. That's why I said invest your money instead of create another business. Invest in real estate that pays you. It's hard enough to do this by itself. Dude, do you know, like, less than I think it was like 86% of, or no, I'm sorry, that's different. Less than 95% of businesses make over $1 million revenue a year. So if you're already making $1 million revenue, which is most people who listen to me, they make over $1 million to $5 million a year just in their business, and they're looking to grow it. That's usually the person listening to me. So you guys know, dude, it's hard enough to do that, man. You work your ass off for that. You, your employees, your products, the services you provide for people, you do good work. So it's a constant grind for you to do this, but you got to think long term and say, look, I'm going to increase the income of my company and my revenues, get my income up, period. Whether you work or whether you don't, doesn't matter. Then you're going to take that, you're going to invest that money into a passive vehicle, real estate, commercial real estate, multifamily real estate, like we do, whatever. And you're going to do that passively, and then you're just going to wait. And you're going to go back to focusing on your business. And while the money you have in this investment is working for you and it's paying you a little drip every month, that money is growing. So you don't have to. You don't need 2 businesses, right? You don't want that. It's hard enough as it is, like I was saying. So, like, think through that. Remember that. Like my buddy was, we and him were talking. I was like, dude, you don't need 2 million. You need 10 million. Yeah, you need to make your bones with having great employees, because if he's constantly arguing back and forth with employees and they don't want to work, I can't find good people and they're not good, that lets me know a couple of things. One, you aren't focused on expanding your company, because you need a lot of employees. You need scale. You can't operate at scale by yourself or with only a small group of people. Second, you aren't interested in training your employees to be good employees. Dude, We're all go through it. You're going to have good people that work for you. You're going to have bad people that work for you. But if you train them to be good, you're going to have some people who just don't want that. But if there's a training process for you, your HR people, the people in your communications department, and they're training your people where they're just doing what good work is and they're following the directions, then you don't have to worry about having bad people. You'll just have bad executors and you can get rid of them and bring more people in. If you like people, bring more people in. And next, as an entrepreneur, man, you got to focus on marketing and sales. 70-80% of your business, your time, energy, money, resources as an entrepreneur and business owner are focused on marketing and sales. The other 15-20% or whatever that is focused on administrative work and operations. Everything else is pushed off to the side because the only thing that makes money in the business is marketing and sales. Period. So get your people in that, right? And once you get that going, you understand that, okay, cool, I got a target. I'm going to hit $10 million. Once I hit 10 million, I know I'm going to pay taxes. I know I'm going to pay expenses. I know I'm going to do all these things and take care of my employees and my growth, my expansion. Next, you're going to go ahead and take that money that you've put off to the side outside of that, because that's still your money. You're going to dump it into a vehicle that gives you passive income, right? Something you're not going to lose your money in. Everyone else is like, oh, I'm going to do stocks. I'm going to do this. I'm like, dude, just do something that doesn't have the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, the volatility of something that you can't control while you're keeping your foot on the gas of something you can control, which is your own income in your business or you as an entrepreneur, or go make more sales, whatever you do. And then just know, like, hey, man, look, I know over time, I'm going to double or triple what I had in my money while I get paid to wait for that. And my 2 million, eventually I'll have 20 million invested. The 20 million will be worth 60 million. And then later when I dump out, my goal is my 20 million turns into 40 million cash while I had all this cash. So like, that's how you do it. And then later you can still sell your company. If you've done your system, you focus on marketing and sales, and your administrative people and your all of your executives have actually built the company, then later you can exit your company. Maybe you take it to a hedge fund and you rip their heads off and you exit the way that you're supposed to exit when you're an entrepreneur or business owner. So remember that, man. You want wealth without the work. Most people are trying to create work and confusing it with wealth. That's not how this goes. And you will have a bunch of work to do if you never get yourself out of like this mind frame that you only need $2 million to retire on. You need more than that. Now you need cash flow. You don't need money to retire on. Cash flow is the name of the game, which is why I said you need passive income sitting, coming in every month for you while this part doesn't go away and is growing. And then later when you have 40, 50, $60,000 coming in a month from the cash flow, from the money you invested, that's real retirement. Then you can chill. And hopefully, guys, you want more cash flow than that coming in. And that takes income. So I hope this helps you guys. That article actually sparked this in me to want to do this because I talk about it. And I just wanted to share because I think this will help a lot of people to shift their mind frame into thinking really seriously. Like, you need to create wealth without the work. Don't go start another business. Don't go buy your own deals. Just do what we do. Invest with somebody like us who's going to do all that work for you, and you can keep your focus on increasing your income in your own business. That's valuable, dude. That's what you got to do. So enjoy your weekend. It's hot as hell outside. I'm going to go to the beach and go hang out. But I wanted to do this because I wanted to share this information with you. When I read that article, I was like, dude, people got to see this for what it is, man. Look, focus on creating wealth, not more work. Promise you, your family will thank you. Have a great day. Get it.